Rescue 911 and the CBS Tuesday movie will return next week. Now, get ready.
Camera's ready. Sound is ready.
For the wonderful Wizard of Oz, 50 Years of Magic.
Here at the new Columbia Studios, formerly the Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer lot, a very special celebration is taking place. Angela Lansbury is hosting a party for her friends, their children, and their grandchildren. Today's celebration is in honor of the 50th birthday of the most beloved film ever made, The Wizard of Oz. This gathering of generations proves the timelessness of the movie. Each year, the annual showing attracts millions of new fans across America, as well as people who've been fans of The Wizard of Oz from the very beginning.
I'm sure that most everybody in the world felt when they saw Wizard of Oz for the first time that it was a major event in their lives. It certainly was for me. Now, of course, I'm, in a curious kind of way, reliving the whole great adventure because I have my 7-year-old granddaughter here with me to see it.
The Wizard of Oz was the very first film I ever saw, and it's still my favorite picture. But this picture, I think, it was a wonderful thing for the whole fantasy world because it gave us a complete fantasy world and opened the way for other filmmakers to do entire movies set in a fantasy world.
Everybody agrees that The Wizard of Oz is a great movie, but I think people tend to take it for granted somehow. It's as if it's always been there. It's a part of our lives, but I think it's a part of our lives because it's buried so deep in our consciousness. We all love it. We all know it by heart. And it really is the kind of movie that burrows deep within you. Very few movies do that.
I gotta tell you, I can't even imagine accomplishing what these people accomplished in this film with the kind of makeup and costumes that they had to wear. The dynamics they got in their performances, the expressions they got on their face with all of this stuff. It's wonderful. I would be so proud if I ever carried something like that off. They were just incredible, every single one of them.
The Wizard of Oz was really an inspiring film for me because as a little girl, I remember watching it and thinking that as a little girl I could have dreams just like Dorothy's. And ever since then, growing up and now being a woman, I'm still that little girl inside, full of dreams, dreams to come true.
Why do I like The Wizard of Oz? Well, I guess it's because of the wonderful things he does. Hey, I gotta run. I'm off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz.
Ladies and gentlemen, and young ladies and gentlemen, the enchantment of The Wizard of Oz is about to touch you. This movie is the most seen film of all time. It's a national treasure, and no wonder. Every time I watch it, I discover something fascinating that I hadn't noticed before. I hope this magic happens for you this evening.
You're off to see The Wizard of Oz. Sponsored by McDonald's.
Many, many miles east of nowhere lies the amazing land of Oz, a magnificent empire created in the mind of a man who wrote a great book about it. Like wildfire in the wheat field, the fabulous tale of the Wizard of Oz spread from town to city to nation to the entire world.
The Wizard of Oz. More people have seen it than any other movie. Over 1 billion of them. It's probably the most beloved movie ever made. A film historian has noted that the enduring magic of The Wizard of Oz touches not only our children, but the child in all of us. The enchantment is easy to explain. The movie's sentiments are universal. Its timelessness, that of any great classic. Those who created this work came as near to perfection as anyone could ask. I first saw The Wizard of Oz as a schoolgirl in London. And I thought it was unlike anything that I'd ever seen before. It was so innovative and such great fun. Later, when I began to watch it on television with my children and then my grandchildren, with each viewing I realized that indeed this is a very special motion picture. A movie filled with values that we all cherish. A movie for all of us, for all time. This is part of a missing number from The Wizard of Oz. Why it is missing will be explained as we share the reminiscences of many who were part of the fascinating history of Oz. Backstage, there was confusion, chaos, and often danger. Now, for the first time, you're going to learn this remarkable story told by those who participated in the making of a movie classic.
I had to work with three very professional men, you know, Jack Haley and Burt Lauer and Ray Bolger. And they had so much makeup on. And they were so busy complaining about their makeups. And each one was making bets as to which makeup was the most difficult all the way through the picture.
I thought that she was the most adorable creature that was ever put on this earth. And so right for the part of Dorothy. She was just like a little girl from Kansas. With great big eyes. She wasn't pretty, just plump. But in a way, she was beautiful.
I'm frightened, Annie. I'm frightened.
I think she holds the whole picture together. Her sincerity that she wants to get back to Kansas. You believe her. She wants to get home to her Aunt Em and so forth. And that was the whole hub of the picture. But it's a wonderful picture, and we're proud of it.
The one thing that we will be known for, no matter what we've done any place else in the whole world, will be the Wizard of Oz. Well, we don't get any residuals, but we have a better thing than residuals. We have a kind of immortality. And a great pride for being a part of a great American classic.
You're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz. You'll find he is a wizard, a whiz, if ever a whiz there was. If ever a whiz there was, the Wizard of Oz is one because of the wonderful things he does. You're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz.
Summer of 1989, there is an extraordinary outpouring of affection as all across America fans celebrate the 50th birthday of the Wizard of Oz. From California to Kansas, from New York to Florida, a timeless movie continues to enchant generation after generation. On a drizzly Sunday morning in August, Midtown Manhattan comes to a halt as the most spectacular Oz event of the year takes place. This happening will find its way into the Guinness Book of World Records, with nearly 5,000 excited participants tap dancing down 34th Street. After weeks of rehearsal, the youngsters give it their all, knowing they'll be seen on TV, even if it's just for a fleeting moment.
Wizard of Oz on tape. We taped it, and me and my sister watch it at least every day.
We've all heard about the several pairs of ruby slippers worn by Judy Garland and how much they've been auctioned for. Anywhere from $15,000 to $165,000. Well, you can forget about those. These ruby slippers, created by the house of Harry Winston for the Oz anniversary, are valued at $3 million because they are made of real rubies. How the Wizard of Oz became a national heritage is a really fascinating story. It all began in 1900 when L. Frank Baum published his classic children's book, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. Nearly 40 years later, the man indirectly responsible for bringing Oz to the screen was none other than Walt Disney. His Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs is not only 1938's biggest hit, it is the most successful movie ever made to that date. This fact does not go unnoticed by other movie moguls, especially Louis B. Mayer, the highest paid executive in America. He reigns supreme at Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, a studio that boasts it has more stars than there are in the heavens. When it's suggested that MGM acquire the rights to The Wizard of Oz, Mayer is interested, but he has a problem. His brilliant head of production, Irving Thalberg, has passed away over a year ago. Mayer has been desperately searching for a successor and finally finds him. Mervyn LeRoy, a bright 38-year-old producer-director, seems the perfect choice. LeRoy accepts, and coincidentally, one of the first projects he proposes is Oz.
Well, I always wanted to make The Wizard of Oz since I was a little boy. Mr. Mayer called me in and said, look, why don't you just produce this picture? You're so crazy about it. And I said, but LB, I want to direct this picture too. He said, well, I think it's too big for you to do both. But I produced it and I'm very proud of it.
To produce a motion picture this complex, LeRoy definitely needs help. He takes on songwriter Arthur Freed as an uncredited associate. Years later, as a producer, Freed's name would become synonymous with the golden years of the MGM musicals. But at this moment, his biggest job is to help LeRoy cast the picture. From the age of 2½, when young Judy Garland began her vaudeville career as part of the Gum Sisters Kitty Act, she had been billed as the little girl with the great big voice.
In my singing school, I am one of many.
By the time she is 15 years old, her name has been changed from Frances Gum to Judy Garland. And she has been under contract to MGM for almost 3 years. She can sing and dance, she can play drama or comedy. Anyone in Hollywood who has seen her perform at benefits or private parties knows Judy Garland is destined for stardom. LeRoy and Freed convinced Mayer that Oz could be her breakthrough. Judy must lose some weight, but the part of Dorothy is hers.
When Mama spoke about making The Wizard of Oz, I could always tell what respect she had for the movie and how proud she was to have been a part of it.
Whenever she watched the movie, you could see in her eyes that she loved making that film because she was a kid. She was 16 years old. She had a great time making that movie, and it was a happy time.
At 22, she was the toast of Broadway. At 29, Billy Burke married Florence Ziegfeld, living a life of luxury worthy of a fairy tale princess. Then in her 50s, Billy Burke begins a successful Hollywood career playing rich, feather-brained matrons. Oz is Burke's favorite movie. As close as I have come, she says, to the kind of roles I did in the theater.
I'm Glinda, the Witch of the North. You are? Oh, I beg your pardon, but I've never heard of a beautiful witch before. Only bad witches are ugly.
The casting for The Wicked Witch causes a major controversy and has everyone at MGM going in circles. Frank Baum's concept in the original book, as illustrated by W.W. Denslow, isn't much help. But Mervyn LeRoy has an idea. Since Disney's glamorous Wicked Queen in Snow White is so successful, why not make the Wicked Witch slinky and seductive? Freed and other executives protest. LeRoy's mind is made up. On the MGM lot is Gail Sundergaard, who the year before had won an Oscar for Best Supporting Actress in Anthony Adverse, a film directed by Mervyn LeRoy. LeRoy persuades Sundergaard to test for the role. Decked out in stylish black sequins with a form-fitting wardrobe to match, she is a knockout. Freed and the others are exasperated. Bad witches are ugly, they remind LeRoy, like Disney's old crone in Snow White. So LeRoy orders the makeup department to give Sundergaard the ugly treatment. But her striking features defy the grease paint, and the distinguished actress decides she doesn't want the role. In those days, I was not about to make myself ugly, she says. I have no regrets. Absolutely no regrets.
Then you take it and bring it up to your kisser and inhale.
A former kindergarten teacher, Margaret Hamilton, is 36 years old and newly divorced. She has been supporting herself and her 3-year-old son as a hard-working character actress.
Chicken thieves, eh?
Why, we'll gladly pay you for any damage that we've done.
All right, $3. So I'd done about 6 pictures for MGM by that time.